Trump Game here, coming at you from ChooseYourRelationships.com. And this week, I'm in Japan. I'll be here until next week. So I want to do this video real quick and talk about some stuff that's been going on in the media and around the world, and some stuff that I've been seeing since I've been traveling for the past 3 weeks. So let me tell you a story. You know, in the early 90s, I got my license at about 17 years old. And, I was driving around the neighborhoods and driving around my town and the surrounding towns. And I would go as far as to Columbia, South Carolina. And I'm from the coast of South Carolina. And from where I'm from to South Carolina to Columbia is about 4 hours. It's a 4-hour drive. So I used to sneak to Columbia at age of 17, driving my mother's and father's car. And I used to get stopped by the cops from time to time, but I wasn't speeding. I wasn't doing anything wrong. And I noticed that it was like this tension going on. It's like this feel the need to do extra stuff. Cops would always go overboard. They would always try to seem like to kind of antagonize me or kind of get a reaction out of me. They would try to do unnecessary stuff, right? And then I used to get harassed in school by some of the white teachers, mainly women. But I never would go home and tell my parents about it. I wasn't the type of kid that just told everything. I would try to figure it out and work it out on my own. And once I graduated high school, I ended up going to college. But during the summer months of college, I used to work with my uncle. But before I started working with my uncle, I tried looking for jobs, summer jobs, and I never could really get the jobs that I wanted, if any. And when I started working with my uncle at a country club, because he was a foreman at the time, I noticed something that was very fascinating and kind of interesting. If you don't know about the country club, in order to be a membership at a country club, you have to actually get invited. You can't apply. And the membership is anywhere between 100,000 to 150,000 on average. That's average. Some country clubs are more than that. But while I was working there, I noticed that I was invisible to a lot of the white guys. They were just talking openly, man. It's like I didn't exist. They were just talking about the deals that they made and prior to, or the deals that they have upcoming and new projects they have. And to me, they were speaking a different language. And you got to think about it. At the time, I'm 18, 19 years old working at the country club. I didn't really hear anybody else talk like that, the way they were talking. And plus, they acted like I didn't exist. So I'm like working at the country club, doing my thing, because at the time I was a bus boy. So, I used to just air hustle and pick up a lot of stuff they used to say. And I used to go back to other people and talk to them about it and say, hey, you ever heard of this and that? You ever heard of this, like real estate deals? And a lot of people didn't know about a lot of things that they were talking about. That's what I realized after a while. And shortly after, around the same time, my mom met this multi-millionaire. She used to do his bookkeeping. He owned like a lot of the water parks in like I think this town called Whiteville, North Carolina. And he owned like 2 of them in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So I used to talk to him when we used to go over to his house because he actually had a home office at the time. And I used to ask him questions. I was like, hey, how'd you get so rich? How'd you get to be so successful? And he said, man, you know what? Everything was passed down. I didn't really have to do very much. All I had to do was just maintain what I had and hire the right people and put them in place in order to maintain everything. He's like, I just had to start from scratch. He said, I don't know how to start from scratch. So I said, oh, okay, I see, right? So, after I went to college, I had like a big run with a cop, and he was so nasty and rude and disrespectful, you know. Plus, I was away from home at the time. I was at South Carolina State University, so I'm by myself at the time. I didn't really have a lot of friends because I'm a new guy at the school. But this state trooper was so mean, nasty, and rude. I was kind of like blown away by the you know the the way he was just going off on me, right? So around this time, the semester was about to end for Christmas and New Year's and everything. So when I went back home, I asked my dad. I said, "Hey, what's going on out here, man? Something ain't right out here. I mean, I'm getting harassed by cops. When I drive to other people's neighborhoods, their neighborhoods look way better than ours. I mean, our neighborhood wasn't bad, but you could just tell there's when you go to the other neck of the woods, it's like everything is lavish, clean, and it seems like they been living that way for a long time over there. They have more of a community environment on the other side of town. They have more resources. They have more access. So I asked my dad, hey, what's going on out here, man? You got to give me some answers. So he kind of smiled and said, well, he said, son, we have been disenfranchised as a people. They basically, what we used to have been stolen. Our culture, our language, our resources. He said what they've done is changed places with us. They've stolen our identity, and now we're in such a bad position. He was like, I don't really think anything is going to change within his lifetime or my lifetime. So he said the best you can do is just find 2 to 5 people that you can build with, and hopefully y'all can come up with something in order to make the most amount of money as possible, and create your own resources. Because if you're going to wait on white folks to do anything for you, it's probably not going to happen. And he said what's happened is a lot of white folks have paid off black folks. And this is why a lot of them tend to sell out so quickly, because they feel like, okay, white folks got all the benefits. So, and I don't want to start off from scratch, because you have to keep in mind, if you're starting off from scratch, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a lot of trial and error. Now, the average white person has never started off from scratch because they didn't have to, because everything was passed down. Like, for example, a lot of people that come to America today, just as they did 100 years ago, they come over here for free shit, free benefits, free unearned benefits. So think about this for a second. You got average people coming from a fucking village or a place that's worse than the ghetto in America. And they can do more in a month and you can do in a lifetime. So think about this for a second. You got a guy that's coming here from China. He can come here today and get a credit card and a $30,000 loan. And you've been living here in the United States of America for 19 years, and they're gonna tell you you don't qualify for a loan because you don't got no credit. But the Chinese man, he ain't got no credit either. But Bank of America will give him a $30,000 loan, and he can go online and apply for a credit card and get approved. How does that make you feel? Think about that for a second. Now, they'll tell you the reason why you don't qualify for the credit card or the loan because you don't got no credit. But how am I supposed to establish credit if no one is willing to take a chance with me to establish credit? So listen to the logic to that. See, that's the illogic of that. In order for me to establish credit, someone has to give me a credit card or a loan in some way, form, or fashion, right? But the Chinese man come over here, the rules change. They just give him whatever. Credit card, loan, and Bank of America, last I checked, is still giving out these $30,000 loans. And they don't have to pay it back until 2 years later. And you're living over here for 18, 20 years. And when it comes to you, the rules change. And you know why that is? Because we are a disenfranchised people. And everybody's a part of it. These big companies, all the way to the politicians, the prison system. I mean, our grandparents and probably, if you're in the 40s, our grandparents and our parents went through slavery and Jim Crow and all that shit. And all these big banks and the prison system, everybody's a part of it. And even some of these security companies like G4S, all of them are part of it. Everybody gets everybody's a part of it, whether it's directly or indirectly. So other people are coming over here for free unearned benefits. And they come over here with a cushion. They don't have to start from scratch. But you do. They'll tell you, if you're a black male listening to this, they'll tell you that you have to bootstrap, that you have to get your shit together. But don't fall for that bullshit. A lot of these people that come over here from other countries they're coming over here to compete against you because where they're coming from, most of them are coming from a bad situation, and if most of them were coming from a good situation, they would have never came over here. They would have stayed where they were at and kept doing whatever they were doing. So don't fall for that bullshit. And don't fall for the bullshit that a lot of white people say. They make it seem like they didn't have any help. They were self-made. They done all the work. They work hard, this and that. No, that's a bunch of bullshit. There's no such thing as a self-made person. No one man or woman starts a company or some organization and does all the work without any help. Everyone has a team or needs a team. And if they don't have a team, they're not going to make it. So, and we're really at war. We're at a social war. Because what happens is a lot of what they've done is they've turned everybody against the black males in society, really around the world, but especially in America. They've turned everyone against us. They've turned black women against us. They've turned all the women against us. You know, there's always an exception to the rule, of course, but as a whole, within American society, they've turned everyone against the black man. And we have no friends. What we have is allies. That's all you have. Even because everybody you run into, you got to look at them like this. Either they're an ally or an agent. That's it. An ally or an agent. You don't really have any friends. You might have 2 to 5 people that's down with you in the end once everything's said and done. But you don't really have any friends, because what happens is most people know that they can really sell you out at a drop of a dime without any consequences. Because if you turn on the television, or if you follow, or if you go around the country, black people are getting slaughtered and killed every day. And the cops or the people that do the killing or do the violent harm, they get rewarded. In some cases, they get rich because they start these Kickstarter campaigns online at 200,000, 500,000, a million, 2 million, 5 million. So they get rewarded for killing black males. And a lot of people, other people from other countries that come over here, they're looking at that. And see, they want to be able, a lot of them want to be able to do the same thing too. But a lot of them can't do it. So what happens, a lot of them will get upset because they'll try the same thing that white folks are doing and it doesn't work out for them in most cases. And they get upset because they secretly want to be associated with white folks. So you got to be careful with that too. This is why you have no friends, black man. What you have, hopefully, if you're lucky, at the end of the day, either an asset or an agent. That's what, well, every time you meet somebody, you got to look at them seriously, honestly. Are they an asset or an agent? Just like the Matrix, you know, because we're at a social, political war. And when it comes to women, being with a woman is really more of a political thing more than anything. And especially if she's not a part of the group of people that you come from, especially if she's white, especially if she's Asian, you know, it is what it is, you know. And this is the thing that my dad told me a long time ago. But, you know, I was so young, some of it I didn't really understand. But as I got older, I started putting things together, and it all makes sense. So, you know, it's like we're in a bad position, man. We're in a pickle, as they say, and I don't know if we're ever gonna get out of it, you know. But if it does happen, I don't think it's gonna happen within my lifetime. We probably got another 50 to 100 years or something like that. That's how it's looking. I could be wrong. I hope I am wrong. But I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. So we're at war, black men. So you got to outthink, outsmart, outmaneuver, and be able to navigate anywhere, anytime. And there's not a lot of room for error. So if you like what you heard, subscribe to my channel. Check out my blog, chooseyourrelationships.com. Until next time, Sharp Game is out. Peace.